So the World Health Organization is the United Nations agency that works to promote health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable so that everyone, everywhere can attain the highest level of health. It is jointly governed by its 194 member states through what we call the World Health Assembly, which is its main decision-making body. And WHO works to expand universal health coverage, which basically means that everyone can have access to the health services they need, when and where they need it, and at no financial cost or hardship. But WHO also works to lead the global response to health emergencies, such as COVID-19, and to promote health throughout the life course, from pregnancy care to old age. Sustainable Development Goal 3 aims to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. So basically everything WHO does contributes to SDG 3, but more generally it contributes to all health-related SDG targets, which are several, and they are not only linked to SDG 3, but you can actually find them throughout the 17 SDG goals. WHO works to support country capacity to deliver accessible, affordable, and high-quality health services to all, and to swiftly respond to health emergencies. And during these past decades, WHO has contributed to many public health improvements and achievements. For example, 6 million fewer children under the age of 5 died in 2016 compared to 1990. Today, 4 out of 5 children worldwide receive basic vaccines. Smallpox was eradicated, and polio is on the verge of being eradicated as well. However, much still needs to be done to achieve SDG 3. And what WHO is doing, it is supporting countries to reorient their health systems towards primary health care. Primary health care is the first level of care that you can access as a citizen, and it is very often in your own communities. And we know that most health services, actually 90% of health services, can be delivered at that level. And the results are really very positive, because primary health care helps to promote health. It helps to prevent diseases by activities of health promotion, but it also improves the resilience of communities against health emergencies and potential epidemics and pandemics. And it supports advancing equity in health, which is also very important and allows everyone to have access to health services. One of the biggest challenges that WHO is facing currently is the fact that there are many crises happening at the same time. Think, for example, of COVID-19. Not only did it lead to a huge loss of life in every country in the world, but it also has social and economic consequences which are really disrupting the lives and livelihoods of hundreds of millions of people worldwide. In addition to this, the hunger levels are increasing at unprecedented rate. For example, 800 million people right now go to bed every night hungry. And the food crisis is being exacerbated by conflicts, recent conflicts that have erupted, and by climate shocks that are more and more common. For the first time since the SDGs were approved in 2015, we are seeing reversal of progress. We now know that millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty again, and as I mentioned before, going to bed hungry. So in this context, we know that the SDGs are more relevant than ever, and particularly SDG 3 and all health-related SDGs, as good health is really a prerequisite for development. But actually, we are progressing at only 1/4 of the pace we need to actually achieve the health-related targets by 2030, which is the deadline of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we need to do something to accelerate progress and support countries in their acceleration. There's many things we can do, and one of these is to try to improve the way multilateral agencies and organizations collaborate among themselves. What this means is that if the collaboration is better, if they are collaborating more closely, they will be able to provide a more coherent support to countries, more streamlined. They will potentially avoid duplications and inefficiencies. And that is really very important to help countries accelerate progress. Also important is to engage youth and youth associations as we discuss problems that we currently face, but most importantly when we discuss issues and challenges which we will have to address in the future. So in global health, there has been a tendency to establish different structures and mechanisms to address individual diseases. So for example, in the 1990s and early 2000s, there were several new structures and mechanisms which were established to respond to the HIV epidemic. And many of these new structures were actually very successful. So today, 73% of people living with HIV worldwide have access to treatment. However, when you establish all of these separate structures and mechanisms, you are creating parallel systems which are not part and are not integrated into the broader health systems. What this means in practice is that sometimes you might receive very high quality treatment for HIV, but people are still getting sick and dying from other diseases because the primary healthcare level, or the health system as a whole, has not been strengthened, but really we have focused on single diseases in the past. However, there are also other examples where we see that we can find synergies. And one example of that are vaccination campaigns. So vaccination campaigns, when they're organized, they're a very good way to reach many children in a very short period of time, which also means that we can reach these children and vaccinate them and protect them against several diseases at the same time.